which is going to be lively. I can tell you that much. There is absolutely so much going on. You can feel like the energy in the whole country. Like it's just, there is just so much happening and so much about to happen in the coming days. So I'm going to do this live. There's a lot coming up. I mean, I always do this live, but usually I just get right to it because I figure people are going to be watching later. But I want to wait for a few people to get on the broadcast because things are happening as we speak. Like there's thousands of people gathered here in Tel Aviv in Hostage Square and rallying. And this has happened every single week since the war broke out. So we're talking 2 years. So this is like the culmination of 2 years of war. And it's about to possibly come to an end. Now, I will always say, like, even though it looks pretty clear that it's going to happen and everybody is pretty positive and hopeful that it's going to happen, we've learned if there's anything that you can be certain about here, especially, it's uncertainty. It's that things are never certain and you never know what's going to happen. And so many people I spoke with today, and I said, "Oh, what do you think of the ceasefire?" They're like, I'll believe it when I see it." And so there's like these really strong emotions going on. There's extreme joy and euphoria and rejoicing. There's extreme anxiety. There's extreme skepticism. There is grief because, also not all of the hostages are coming back alive. Of the 48 hostages, about 28 of them are coming back in body bags. So, and Hamas said they haven't found all of the hostages either, the bodies. They don't know where they are. So there's still a lot of uncertainty. And though the ceasefire has been in effect since yesterday, since Friday, I think at noon, we don't, as far as like what's going to happen over the next few days, up until the time Hamas has had 72 hours to return the hostages all at once. And until that happens, 72 hours is a long time and anything can happen. So there's still this the sense of like, all right, maybe it's going to happen, maybe not. Although what you see right now, not right now on the TV, but what we will see on what's happening in Tel Aviv, the rally might be the largest one in the last 2 years, with people they've been at Hostage Square. This square in Tel Aviv became Hostage Square after October 7, 2023. And people just gather there to rally, to, lobby, to, get the world's attention, on the hostages. So that's what the families have been doing for the last 2 years, and many Israelis joining them. But tonight, and what's happening right now, is that we have in the country right now, Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East, and Jared Kushner, who is President Trump's son-in-law and who was responsible for, had a big part in brokering the Abraham Accords. The two of them are here right now, and they are supposed to be addressing the crowds at Hostage Square tonight. And actually, when somebody said that, "Oh, Witkoff's expected to be there tonight," I said, no way. He'll go there, because it's become like a very political movement over there. It's been, in addition to just being for the hostages and raising awareness and rallying for the hostages, it's also been taken over by, it's also become anti-government, anti-Netanyahu, and so I thought, oh, well, he won't go there. I mean, very few of the government members go there. The opposition members do go there. In fact, here's some breaking news. The head of the opposition, is he the head right now or is the other guy? Anyway, Yair Lapid, he just said to on this news program on Channel 12 right now, he just said Trump had to force Netanyahu to take the deal. So I can't wait to unpack that one. I can't wait till they unpack it, and we'll figure out. Well, if we go into politics, there's a lot about the politics. Because by the way, the ceasefire wasn't supported unanimously by the cabinet. There were several ministers in Netanyahu's government, all part of his coalition, that voted against the ceasefire. So there's going to be, anyway. And speaking of civil war, we got to get to Gaza too, because you have to hear what's happening there. But okay, so what time is it? Okay, so we have about 10 minutes or so until Witkoff and Kushner are going to be at the rally and going to be speaking tonight, addressing the crowds here in Israel. So let's start off with the timeline, because over the next couple of days, I mean, right now, like, we're literally in the eye of the storm. Like, there's a lot of excitement or something, like a lot of frenetic energy, but we're really in between like two major points, like the implementation of the ceasefire at noon on Friday, all the way to the release of the hostages, which is up until noon on Monday local time. So, and then also with the Palestinian prisoners that are going to be released. So the timeline was that yesterday it went into effect, and now the Israeli army is withdrawing and has withdrawn to a predetermined, agreed upon yellow line. It's called the yellow line. Let me share that. Let me see. I have, where'd it go? This is it. Do you see it? Yes. Okay. So you see here is the yellow. So all this in black is the Gaza Strip. And of course, Israel on the east side and Egypt to the south. So this is the Gaza Strip. Now you see the yellow line. Now Israel is withdrawing to the yellow line. That means that Israel still has 53% of the Gaza Strip under its control. So this yellow line there is, they're withdrawing from some of the big cities, Gaza City, but you still see Beit Hanun in the north is still completely under Israeli control. And you see that wide buffer zone. I mean, it's almost 50% at some point. Like if you look up by Gaza City, you can see like that it's already a narrow strip, Gaza, but that the side of the buffer between the yellow line and Israel, and then the buffer between the yellow line to the Mediterranean Sea is almost the same size. And then, of course, in the south, I mean, Israel still has control of all of the Rafah crossing and all of this large swath of land, which is way more than 50%, going from the yellow line to the east, then from the yellow line to the west to the Mediterranean Sea. So anyway, so that is what is Israel is. The military is now withdrawing. You know, on the way out, like just right before the ceasefire was in effect, went into effect, a Hamas sniper killed an Israeli soldier. And it's so probably will be, at least if things do go according to plan, that this will be like the last death of in the IDF in this war. There have been, let's do some numbers. Over 900 soldiers have been killed. The Palestinian numbers, 67,000. And we do not know when they go back to their homes, if they have homes to go back to, and rubble, how many or if there are bodies under the rubble. And this is, of course, people like to debate, and they say, oh, well, the, Palestinian health ministry is run by Hamas, so we can't trust their numbers. But even, exaggerated by 50%, that's a lot. That is a lot. That is an extremely high number. And so that is why there is so much opposition internationally to this war and why people wanted it to be stopped. So anyway, so that is so the Palestinian. Wait, let me see. Let me get some notes here. Okay. All right. So okay, and now also talking about the hostages. Going back to the numbers, there were originally 251 hostages, and many, over 100. Do the math fast, Nicole. 200 have either been returned or their bodies have been recovered or they were rescued. I think only about 8 have been rescued, actually. And there were about 100 that were released, and I think 40 something were killed somehow or another in Gaza. We know that several were executed by Hamas. We know that some were killed in the Israeli bombardment of Gaza. So there's so anyway, those are the numbers there. Now, of the ones coming back, officially we know that there are 20 of the 48 that are still there. 20 are believed to be alive. That means that 28 have been either they were killed on October 7th and Israel knows that, or they were killed there, or somehow died there. I know of several stories that the bodies weren't recovered, but they were determined to have died over there. What now? How this is going to be? Oh, and by the way, when Israel is, as part of this first round, phase 1, will be releasing 2,000 Palestinian prisoners. Now, of these prisoners, there's, I think, about 200 of them who have direct links to terror attacks that killed Israelis. So they're considered to have blood on their hands. And Israel has to go through a legal process of actually allowing people to oppose the prisoner release. So tomorrow, Sunday, is a regular working day here, and so that will be the time that people will be able to voice their opposition to any of the releases. And so again, like, there's this general euphoria going on here. However, there are also so many people who have a different take on the situation. Like, for instance, I heard an interview with a woman who one of her loved ones were killed by one of the prisoners being released, or supposed to be released, and she said, how is this justice for me and for my family, that this prisoner gets to be released and doesn't pay for his crime? So she said, I understand that people are so excited to get the hostages back, and I do think that they should come back, but why at the expense of my justice? So there's a lot of conflicting feelings, even here in Israel alone. And I'm really giving you more of the Israeli picture of what's happening, because my contact with Gaza is just very limited, and I do know that when the ceasefire was announced, before it went into effect, but when it was announced that both Israel and Hamas agreed to it, and I think this was overnight from Wednesday to Thursday, Palestinians were rejoicing in the streets. They had they were singing, dancing. So I saw a bunch of videos. I mean, they want the war to end. They have been living like nomads, going from, who knows if they have a house to go back to, but living in tents and just being scrounging for food, for humanitarian aid, if they were in the right place for that, avoiding attacks. And also another thing that's going on, my goodness, one of, toward the end, before the ceasefire went into effect, before it was declared, I was following the news of 2 different militias in Gaza, 2 different anti-Hamas militias that were really fighting with Hamas, and there were like civil wars, massacres in the streets, and now that since the Israeli army has withdrawn, it looks like, according to some of the reports that I'm reading, that Hamas now has open season on anybody who they consider a collaborator. I mean, I saw several videos today of people being rounded up and shot, and and I can't verify the circumstances of how that happened or why, but it looks like then I did see one of the militias, Abu Shabab, also had a video that they put out, and they said, we are, where it's business as usual. And so we might see, with the withdrawal of the Israeli military, infighting now between Hamas and the other groups that oppose them. So phase one of the deal, Israel withdraws, Hamas rounds up the hostages. Hamas has to get the hostages to the Red Cross. Red Cross will transfer them all at once. By the way, this is different from all the previous releases. So 20 living hostages all at once to be transferred into Israel, and Israel will release the Palestinian prisoners. So now for Israel, they don't know the condition of the hostages. They have some experience of this, of course, with the 150 or so that were released before this, what are some of the physical concerns, the mental concerns, the psychological concerns. But with 20 being released at once, it's way different than having, like before, when they had 10 at a time, or lately when it was only 3 at a time, for each week, like 3 on Saturday, another 3 the next Saturday, and it was really staggered. But now with many hostages being released at once, the hospitals have been preparing for several days now to receive them. So I don't know how it's going to be broken down, if it's going to be according to, like, this one is close to, his family lives here, or his lives there, and so they're going to go to local hospitals, but they're setting up rooms for them. They have an initial intake from when they go from the Red Cross, they get transferred to the Israeli army. Israeli army brings them across the border. They are able to shower and change their clothes, and then they are brought to the hospital, where or actually maybe the family meets them on the hospital base, and they will take the helicopter, like maybe just one or two of them, and then they will helicopter or ambulance ride to the hospital. But we don't know the condition of the hostages. The previous 2 hostage videos, or maybe it was like 3 or 4 people, these young men, they were emaciated. You saw, like, their collarbones jutting out. They looked tired and lifeless, and they had said, like, they're only eating like a half a can of canned food a day. So anyway, we don't know what condition they're going to be in coming physically. We could base it on the people who came out in January and February, and with many more months now. What is this, like 6 or 7 months since then, that they are it could be in a lot worse shape, and of course mentally and psychologically. So of the hostages, I could tell you some of the stories. I know that at least 2 of them are fathers of young children. One of them was kidnapped with his wife and 2 daughters. The wife and 2 daughters were released, and now he's been there for another 2 years almost, and he's there with his brother. I don't know if they're together, and the brother is the boyfriend of another hostage who was released last year in a very scary episode. She looks she looked like it looked like she was going to be lynched in that crowd. There's fathers, there's sons, they're coming out. They're all male. That's who's left of the hostages. So that's that. So let me see where we are. If you have any questions, shoot them my way. I am checking out to see what I may have missed. Okay. So something else I did want to tell you about. Just today, there was a post by the new. It was a post on Instagram where a survivor of October 7th apologized for his suicide, and I'm gonna show you right up. Steve Witkoff's going to be speaking soon. Vo'i shala. Oh, wait, guys, I'm going to go back to this one. And right now I'm going to go to something else. Let me switch screens for a second. I'm sorry. This is a oh, come on. The live feed will resume shortly. They got to be kidding me. Well, when it doesn't work like that, guys, it works like this.
I dreamed of this night.
This is Steve
It's
Witkoff.
been a long journey.
Steve Witkoff, the U.S. Oh my gosh, there's Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump on the stage here in Tel Aviv.
I don't know how many people are out there. It's quite a bit, as I can tell. Looks like almost more than 100,000 people here tonight. All of our hearts beating as one.
Can you guys hear?
Gathered here in Tel Aviv for peace, for unity, and for hope in this sacred place we call Hostage Square. I only wish the president was here. He would love this.
By the way, Trump will be here on Monday for 6 hours. He lands at 9 and he will be leaving at 3 p.m., something like that. Who's speaking? This is Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East. He's the one who brokered this deal. He and Jared Kushner.
Thank you.
And that's so Steve Witkoff. There's Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump.
Jews, Christians, Muslims, and people from every corner of the world, united by one shared prayer for peace. Tonight, we celebrate something extraordinary, a moment that many thought was impossible. Yet here we stand, living proof that when courage meets conviction, miracles can happen. A peace born not out of politics, but out of courage. The courage of those who refuse to give up hope. First and foremost, I want to honor the people of Israel. Your strength, your resilience, your unwavering spirit through unimaginable pain and loss. You have carried the weight
Look at
of
that.
hope
Look at the crowd.
on your shoulders
Look
for the
at,
entire
there's
world.
at least 100,000
You've
people here.
prayed, you've persevered, and you've shown the world that peace is not weakness. It is the highest form of strength. Through heartbreak and fear, you never let go of the faith. Your courage and endurance inspired the world, and it was your belief, joined with the bold leadership of my friend and President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, that made this peace possible.
Look at that sign, Nobel, President Trump. I'll tell you more about the Israeli reaction to Trump
This moment
And,
was made
like, the
through
campaign
tireless
to get him
dedication
the Nobel
of
Prize
leaders who would not rest
by the
until
hostages'
world
families.
saw what could be achieved. One of them standing right here with me, Jared Kushner.
Right, because Jared was very active in the previous Trump administration, and he is the one who brokered the Abraham Accords, or at least was very active in that. And now that he hasn't really been in the picture in this administration, and now he is, and look what's happening very fast. Ooh, Prime Minister Netanyahu is getting more booze. That's why I thought Trump wasn't going to be there. I mean, that Witkoff wouldn't speak here because it's so political.
Okay.
They don't love him.
Okay.
They don't love him. Only Christian Americans really love him. Look. He's getting booed. He stepped in it. You should not have gone. It was a very political rally.
Let me
Let me finish my thought.
I was in the trenches, guys. Let me just finish my thought. I was in the trenches with the Prime Minister.
I'm just in a bit
Believe me,
of
he was
shock
a very
right now.
important part here.
Right, we just had the head of the opposition say that Trump had to force him to do it because he would have never done it on his own, which is what a lot of Israelis believe, that he never would have done it on his own. And that's why more Israelis love Trump more than they love Netanyahu right now.
Included, have both.
Oh, they don't like Ron Dermer either. Wow.
Okay. Okay. Have both,
Steve, just keep talking.
Have both sacrificed so much.
There's also two foreign hostages, by the way, one from Nepal and one from Africa. I'm not sure which country. Not sure of their fate, unfortunately.
They've given everything, their time, their energy, and their hearts to building a safer, stronger future for the Jewish people. Their commitment to this country has never wavered, and it never will. We thank you. The President thanks you. Thank you.
So President Trump is going to be here for like 6 hours on Monday. All of Jerusalem, all of Israel will be shut down between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. He might also meet with hostages that are released. He's here to make sure that they are being released. And then he might even be visiting with them. Okay, so now he's getting more cheers because now he's talking to the leader that more Israelis appreciate at the moment than their own, President Trump. Listen, thank you, Trump. You have to see the signs that are out there and what they've done. Thanking Trump since this deal went through, since as many think that he forced Israel and Hamas to make this deal.
With the indomitable spirit, who once again proved that bold leadership and moral clarity can reshape history and change the world. We all owe a debt of deep gratitude to President Trump. In the worst of times, he refused to accept the idea that peace in the Mideast was out of reach. He brought together nations once divided. He brought together nations once divided by generations of conflict and showed us that shared peace is stronger than shared pain. History will remember
Eli Sheva says it's a disgrace to boo Netanyahu right now. Yes,
the greatest president in American history, and we're here because of him.
Hold on. Oh, good. I'm getting a phone call, and Daniel hung up for me.
He showed the world that strength and peace go hand in hand. They are not opposites; they are partners. To the Arab leaders and partners of ours
Can you guys
who
hear?
meant so much in this negotiation.
Are you interested?
Including President Erdogan from Turkey.
Yeah, that's
including
crazy.
Sheikh
Let's
Mohammed
talk
from
about
Qatar,
Erdogan
including
from
the
Turkey.
Emir.
He hated Israel too. This guy, he's so fickle
All
with
of
Israel.
whom played a critical and an integral role in this peace deal. I say thank you.
I mean, Erdogan, like, come on, like, when are we gonna like learn that? I mean,
Arab friends
sorry. Also, regarding Armenia, I don't like him on that in that regard either.
Thank you for showing.
And suddenly he's like the big leader here, helping facilitate hostage releases.
Of old hatred, but on the promise of shared hope. And now, from the depths of our hearts.
Oh, it's pre-written. You can
the
tell by the
families of
subtitles.
hostages.
Oh, great. Okay, Michelle, I'm leaving it on. So he's honoring the hostages' families now.
Each and every one of you have carried the moral weight of this nation. Your courage has moved the world and has touched me in ways that I have never been touched before in my entire life. You have
Witkov, they're saying Witkov. That's how you would say it here. Witkov. Witkov, yep.
If you keep me here all night, then Jared and Ivanka won't get to talk to you.
Oh my gosh.
Your courage has moved this world, I say to the families. You have prayed through endless nights and never let the world forget who your loved ones are. And in this way, you honor and you bless them.
You know, it's true. The hostages are people that we've never met, and yet they have become like figures here, public figures, and they don't even know it because they're there. Oh, I know. That's Bidon. I met this guy.
Your faces, your names, your stories have lived in every heart here tonight and in mine since I began this job. Your endurance, your faith, your will to live have been symbols of the human spirit that cannot ever be broken. And
there is one female still in Gaza.
Return to the embrace of your families and your nation,
she's deceased.
Know that all of Israel and the entire world stands ready to welcome you home with open arms and endless love. And let's not forget the people who have lost children who are not coming home. Members of a very terrible club that I'm a member of myself. We remember the heroes and the innocent souls who are no longer with us, those who were taken from us on that terrible, tragic day, October 7th, and those who have given their lives since then in defense of freedom and their nation, in defense of this country, Israel, in defense of peace.
Walter's asking, where can I find the original video? This is live.
Their memory is a blessing.
So I don't know, because it's not on the live feed that I had, so I don't know.
From their courage, we draw
but remind me, I'll send it to you.
And from their love,
if I find it.
Our purpose. This peace is their legacy. It is a promise that their lives will not be remembered only in sorrow, but in the hope of a future without fear. So in closing, I say, may God bless the souls of the fallen. May God bless the hostages and their families as
see
they return home.
their ages
May
updated
God bless the
on the
state of
signs
Israel.
behind him. I'll show
May
you.
God bless the United States of America. And may God bless Donald J. Trump, the greatest president the world has ever seen. Thank you.
See, like, he was kidnapped at 20, and then they show, like, every time that he had a birthday, they added a year. You can see there's others. They're not gonna give us. They're not gonna give us Jared. Come on. Wait, let's see if Channel 11 sticks with it. Yes.
10 months
Channel 11. Thank you very much.
Of working with Steve very closely, even more so in the last month. And I have to tell you, it's been an honor to me to work with such a special man who's approached this impossible task with a full heart and with a full commitment. And when things got tough and we ran into brick walls, every time that happened, we just said, let's make a new plan. Let's try again. And that's...
So the ones that they believed to be alive or that there was still hope for, they have changed their ages. But like for Inbar, her age stayed the same.
His commitment to seeing peace, to seeing the
also is
hostages
believed to have
return
been
home, to seeing
killed,
Israel secure and safe,
Tamir.
and to seeing the
But
entire Middle
Matan,
East
there's hope that he's
stable and
alive.
thriving is
There's
unmatched.
Ziv Berman, and I think his brother, I think they might be twins, were both kidnapped as well. They're both there. There's a couple of brothers that are either still there or one was released. Again, thank you, Trump. They're saying
That's
it in
right.
English.
Thank you, President Trump, for the amazing job you did and for your commitment to bring this horrible conflict to an end. October 7th for me was a shattering day. My wife and I were at a friend's wedding in Colorado, and I remember hearing the news, and I just went to the hotel room, and I was looking at videos and trying to speak to whoever I could to get information, and I just stayed there all night, and I cried. Seeing some of these acts that were committed on that day made me think about how fortunate we are to have a society with rules and laws and people with morals. And seeing these horrific, barbaric acts shocked me to my core in a way that I'll never be the same. Since then, my heart has not been complete. And it's been a tremendous burden that I felt to see these hostages come home. To see their families get the closure they deserve and to end this nightmare. And also to see the suffering end for the people in Gaza.
Oh, Christine and Sarah
were experiencing this through no fault of their own, other than being born into a situation that was horrific.
Wow, Walter, you were here? So you just missed it, or you were here when it started? That's unbelievable.
We're not going to celebrate
Christine
tonight. We're going to celebrate on Monday when the phase one gets into conclusion.
That's right. Don't celebrate till Monday.
What I did come here tonight to say was that I couldn't be more proud to see the way that the state of Israel and its people have carried themselves through this traumatic, unthinkable, horrific experience. Instead of replicating the barbarism of the enemy, you chose to be exceptional. You chose to stand for the values that you stand for. And I couldn't be prouder to be a friend of Israel, somebody who supports Israel, and somebody who fights very strongly to see Israel survive, succeed, and to achieve its fullest potential. Thank you. All I know, and I have complete confidence in this, is that what will rise from this trauma will be a level of greatness, a level of achievement, a level of impact on the world, a level of leadership that Israel has never seen. And I encourage you all to go forward, to seize that opportunity. And as we close this chapter, let's learn from the challenges and the pain of the last few years. And let's do our best to make Israel, to make the region, to make the world as peaceful, to build bridges of understanding, to eliminate hatred in ourselves, hatred for others, and to really lead with love and understanding. So I thank you all for the tremendous commitment you've all shown, for the support that you have given to these amazing families through such a horrific time. And just the final thing is, I just want to thank the amazing soldiers of the IDF.
This sign says, Ima Po, mom is here.
And brilliance.
So it must be the mom of one of the hostages holding a sign.
Impossible. So really want to give a big tribute to them. So God willing, we've accomplished the first phase. It's been very, very rocky. Steve and I will one day tell the stories. They'll make you laugh. They'll make you cry. It was crazy. I noticed he had no 4-letter words in his speech because I think he used them all in the negotiation. But I think that it's a really great thing, hopefully, to celebrate Monday. So really an honor to be on with all of you tonight. I'll introduce my wife who wants to say a couple words.
Start putting your feedback in the comments because I want to hear what you guys think. Look at that crowd.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Huge.
And thank you, Steve. And thank you, President Trump.
There's Ivanka Trump. If
Tonight,
anybody didn't know, that's
as we
Ivanka
stand here
Trump,
together in Tel Aviv,
daughter of
we honor
the Donalds.
the strength of every family waiting, praying, and believing. Over the last 2 years, the president, myself, Steve, Jared, and so many of others have met these incredible people, and I am in awe by their strength and conviction in spite of such suffering. And the president wanted me to share, as he has with so many of you personally, that he sees you, he hears you, he stands with you, always, always.
Man, look at the security. Look at that guy. Yes, Mary, Monday is supposed to be there. By Monday at noon, they're all supposed to be released. And President Trump will be here for that.
The return of each hostage is not only a moment of homecoming and relief, it's a triumph of faith, of courage, and of our shared humanity. We pray, and so many people are working so hard to ensure that this coming week is one of healing for you all. One of healing as we begin and embark on the next chapter, which, God willing, after far too long, will be a lasting and enduring peace.
This is what they're really working
God
on.
bless you all.
Furthering the
For
Abraham
standing
Accords.
in solidarity together through this dark chapter. And we're all praying for Monday and beyond. So thank you.
Look where it goes. Look at this.
מרגש, שגם נסע איתו פעם פחות
So-
מרגש. זה בסדר שהייתה איזו מחאה מצד הקהל, אבל שוויטקוף התעקש בכל זאת להגיד את הדברים שלו עוד פעם.
He's the father of one of the hostages.
והקהל לא טרח לכבד, אם לא את
Yes.
ראש ממשלת ישראל, אלא וויטקוף. אני לא חושבת שזה היה...
Sounds like Ayala Hassan agrees with you, Elisheva, that it was a little bit of a disgrace to be booing Netanyahu in the middle of this, but that it was a very emotional speech, or a very emotional few speeches and time. So let me get to some of the comments. Healing, that's something I wanted to talk about as well. Christine mentioned healing, picking up on what Ivanka said, that Israel, and I'm sure that the Gazans as well, but there's this inability to move on from a trauma until it has been closed, like until you have closure. So for instance, because there are still hostages, because there hasn't been a reckoning or an accounting, like on a governmental level, about October 7th and the failures of October 7th, all of these loose ends have left the people with an open wound. And so that wound and that trauma cannot begin to heal until there's closure. So this will go a long way to bring closure to the people in Israel. Now, I don't know what it's going to take to bring closure and healing to the Palestinians, because as much as people will want to say, oh well, Hamas started it, and it's their fault because they voted for Hamas, and all of these statements, I think that you're talking about a lot of innocent people who experienced trauma and grief on levels we can't imagine. And same with the victims of October 7th. It's the same. And it was ongoing trauma for the Gazans. Whereas here living in Israel, we have had quiet. By the way, we also haven't had any missiles from the Houthis. So I guess they're on board with the ceasefire, the ones in Yemen that like to send the missiles, ballistic missiles from Yemen. So we haven't had any of those. So I think that the trauma and recovery of the Israelis is something that I watch. I've been watching and reporting on. But because I have that knowledge of because I'm learning and understanding as I report it about what it takes for healing and why it's been so difficult to move on, then I can only imagine how much harder it is for people who are homeless, who've lost their children or their parents, or lost their limbs, or there's no closure there, and lost their homes and everything. So I cannot imagine what it takes to heal also the Gazans' trauma. And while some people say, well, I don't care because they started it, well, until that is only going to their lack of healing will only nurture hate that they have for Israel, and that will only continue. So until there is some true healing on both sides, then hatred will only continue on both sides. So I think the healing of all of the people in this region who have been affected is very crucial. And what I was going to say right before the speeches started is that earlier today, there was news came out that that one Israeli took his life today, and I'm going to read a little bit of this post. This is Ro'i Shalev. He was at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th, and he was shot in the back by Hamas and left for dead. His girlfriend was killed. His other very good friend was killed. And a week after that, his mother took his life, or a year after, I'm sorry, I don't know the date. But he was on his way to healing. And here's what he wrote in a post on Instagram. I'm really sorry. I just can't deal with this, with the pain any longer. I'm burning from the inside, or I'm burned out from the inside. I can't handle this anymore. I'm alive. My life, um, I've never felt in my life such a pain and suffering like this. It's deep, and it burns, or it's on fire or something. I can't give the exact English translation. I really can't. I can't handle it anymore. Dad, Lior, and Ido, I love you guys the most in the world. I'm so sorry. My friends in the country and outside the country, I love you very much. It's um, Keshet, I love you. And oh, somebody's about to walk in the house. Please don't be angry with me. I ask you, nobody, you can't understand my pain. It's and it's okay that you can't understand it. I just want that this suffering will end, and I want I'm alive, but from the inside I'm dead. And anyway, and here's a picture that he posted of himself, and then he took his life. So you can see that. I'm going to stop sharing. You can see that this this man, 2 years later, after this, I hadn't heard of him before. There's so many stories, and I didn't hear of his story, but I I was looking at his Instagram posts, and you know he had been to Thailand. He had been to Switzerland. He was brought on a healing journey. He talked about a healing journey. He was helping to support the Nova survivors, and there were 375 people killed at the Nova concert, which was this open air concert right on the border with Gaza, right on October 7th when it happened. Oh yeah. Anyway, and they were really just sitting ducks. So there are support groups for them, but so he made it 2 years. It looked like he was healing, but then he just took his life just now. So it's like even when you see that, I mean, it just makes you wonder what is going to be the long term um, outcome of this. How what are we going to see the consequences, the fruit of this down the road? Um, the hostages that are coming back, what is going to trigger them? What is are they going to be okay? I mean, you see the ones who came back, are they truly okay? Will we ever really know? Will they ever really know? This guy looked like he was on the way to healing. He said basketball gave him life and helped him, and it was like a therapy for him. And I saw one of the videos he posted of him taking shots and nailing every 3-pointer. But so I don't know what it's going to take, but obviously it's going to take a lot of prayer and a lot of wisdom for all people affected here. And I don't want to make it this side or that side. I think a lot of people are affected and are going to need some serious prayer, some serious healing, and may that begin now on Monday. Cautious optimism. Okay, let me just check and see. Oh my gosh, then there was the other one. You know the story of Yarden Bibas? He was kidnapped right before his family was kidnapped. He was not with them. He was kidnapped first, and then later his wife and 2 children, including the youngest hostage, 9-month-old toddler, Kfir, his name was, and Shiri and the boys were kidnapped by a different group and held separately, and they were murdered in captivity. And Yarden did find out about this during his own captivity. But he wrote a post which I cannot find to read to you right now. But I'll tell you what, I actually takes a lot for me to get any tears. And at the end, he talked about how being what he misses about his family. And then at the end he said all of this, all of this pain is very real, and this was, if life is a marathon, then my kids and my wife are a marathon. And but I choose life. And he said specifically, I choose life. And I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. And I read it this morning, and then a couple hours later I read about Ro'i Shalev, and I just feel so bad. I just want to show you some pictures. We're talking about Gaza, and this is what some people are going back to in Gaza. This is what the IDF did in some of these neighborhoods after bombing the neighborhoods, and they destroyed, they brought down these buildings because they said security issues, or there were tunnels underneath, or and so these are some of the scenes from Gaza. Now that's pretty traumatic. Like, if that was your house, if that was your neighborhood, that is pretty traumatic, so that, I don't know if you guys have been exposed to some of this stuff and some of these videos, but anyway, just so you know what has happened there in Gaza, and what a lot of the Palestinians are facing. So they've got, on one side, they've got Hamas with a gun pointed at their heads, and Hamas has been executing people for allegedly being supporters with Israel. Like, it's not like they're really, actually doing a court case to find out or getting proof. They're just like, yeah, you collaborated, and if we assume that you're guilty, you're guilty. So they're suffering there as well. Last but not least, I think I'll just show you the one thing you saw with the speeches today. You saw the reception for Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, and they got a very good reception from the Israeli crowds. And in the last couple of weeks, months, the Israelis, specifically these families, the hostage families, have been looking to President Trump to make a difference in their and to bring the war to an end. And at this point, you heard them booing Netanyahu, and they're basically, they didn't trust him to actually come to a deal to end the war, even though Netanyahu himself says, oh no, I agreed to it. It was Hamas that didn't agree to it. But there's still there's a big lack of faith in the government. So this is what happened here. Do you see this? This farmland in Israel, Nobel for Trump. This is what came out. This is what came out right after the announcement was made that this deal was going through. And so this was, I believe it was Wednesday night to Thursday. Is that the case? It's all a blur, but I'll tell you what, I was actually in Armenia. I was in Yerevan when the news came out, and it was, Yerevan is an hour ahead even of Israel. So it's like 8 hours ahead of Eastern time, Washington. So when Trump was making this, I think before I went to bed, and we were going to bed late because it was vacation, watching stuff with the kids late at night, and I start getting like the news alerts that Secretary of State Rubio just handed Trump a piece of paper in the middle of a press conference that had nothing to do with Israel and Gaza. And Trump read it, and he said, oh, there might be an agreement soon. You'll probably have an announcement soon. And then after that, I was like, oh, that's it. I cannot go to sleep. So I pretty much was awake the whole night, just following following the news. I mean, because it was it was about an hour after that. You can come in, Raya. Oh, hold on a second. How did you all get home? Well, why didn't you knock? Don't. I mean, my family's trying to get through the door, and instead of knocking, they're standing out there. I was never going to end. Why didn't you just tell me?
We're trying to help you, maybe.
What?
Maybe we're trying to help you.
I get it. Okay. Well, did you talk to Raya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, finish your life first.
What was I?
Hi, Tandy.
Oh my gosh, they're sitting right outside, like waiting for me to open the door. Okay, so anyway, then he makes the announcement, and then the Israeli news is going crazy, and then the hostage families are doing like a million press releases and things like that. So there was no sleeping that night. Like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe that was very euphoric. But I have to say, like, since then there's been like this balance and proportion of like, okay, that's really good news that the war is going to end, but a lot of people now, a lot of these hostage families are going to be facing the reality that, okay, I'm getting my loved one back to bury him. Like, many of them have known that all along, but now they are getting being faced with the reality that this fight really isn't going to change anything. Whereas, for them, because they're getting back a coffin, as opposed to the ones who are getting back their child or their father or their husband or boyfriend alive. So anyway, there's a lot of mixed emotions going on, and they were just showing actually some of the prisoners who are going to be released from Israeli jails, the Palestinian prisoners, and the reactions of some of the families, and so there's also that emotion. So it's just, there's just a lot of stuff going on all at once, and very bubbly, very frenetic, very, very chaotic, and also cautious optimism that the war will really end. It's hard to believe, after 2 years and 7 different fronts of battles, that we're actually looking at the end. And I can tell you, it's going to take a long time for people not to react to noises, or to not expect that your flight will just be randomly canceled. I mean, a lot of things that you can't take for granted anymore. So it's just been a while for that. So anyway, let's just review the timeline, and then I'll sign out. But so today's Saturday. Sunday, still in the eye of the storm. Nothing really will be happening. Although they do say prisoners could be released in advance. Hostages could be released in advance, but we're not sure about that. They have to be released by Monday at noon. President Trump arriving to Israel 9:30 Monday morning. He will be here for only about 6 hours. I think he takes off again at 3 p.m. And so that Monday is the day. Monday is also the year. If you go like on the Jewish calendar, it's actually 2 years till of the October 7th. The Simchat Torah, I think, is Tuesday, that's when October 7th was originally. It was on that holiday, Simchat Torah, which is like joy of the Torah. For those of you who don't know, and don't ask me to explain it too much either. So we're looking at Monday being the big day. So I think tomorrow I may go live if events warrant, but please check back. But Monday, for sure, I hope I have absolutely nothing going on except me and this computer and that TV, and maybe I'll even go to Hostage Square. Actually, I should do that, because that's going to be crazy. That's going to be wild. Okay, but then if you're at Hostage Square, you're not tuned into the news. So it's like tough. Anyway, thank you all for joining. I really loved your interaction and responses and comments, and And I'm sure I missed some questions. I'm just running up and down. Oh gosh, Mary, I just saw your comment about the Abraham Accords. That's funny. And is Steve Witkoff Jewish is another question. I think he is, but don't quote me on that. So anyway, and Ohan shows up at the last minute as I'm ending it. Your point of view, is the war over? What's next? The West Bank and Gaza, if there's no students. Okay, so I didn't even talk about phase 2. The ceasefire, the phase 1 of the ceasefire is through Monday, getting all the hostages back. Phase 2 will really determine whether or not the war is over, because phase 2 requires Hamas to disarm. Hamas has said, how can we disarm? Or if we disarm, we're only giving our weapons to Palestinians. Nobody really knows what happens, how phase 2 is really going to play out. I'm sure it's in writing somewhere, but right now only phase 1 is agreed upon, and phase 2 is going to unfold. So that will be Hamas giving up its arms. We shall see if that will happen. Who is going to manage the Gaza Strip? Who's going to rebuild the Gaza Strip? Because I showed you some of the houses needs to be rebuilt, right? I mean, people got to live somewhere, right? So anyway, that needs to happen. And then who is going to manage it? Is it going to be Turkey, UAE, and Egypt all together? Like, just Saudi Arabia, are they involved? I mean, there's a lot of questions. Then America is America. I mean, Trump wanted to make Gaza the Riviera of the Middle East. Is that still on the cards? So anyway, I don't know. It's a great question. And, and is it even leading to a 2-state solution? And but I think first things first, is it even inhabitable? And how do you let people go back to life over there in Gaza? But anyway, I think we just need to get through Monday. We have to be very short-sighted here and just get through Monday and see if that happens. So it's Monday, noon, my time. So if you're in the East Coast in America, it's 5 a.m. Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, that's the deadline for all of this. And Trump will be here at 9 a.m, which is 2 a.m. Eastern time Monday. So anyway, set your alarm. No, I'm just kidding. I'm glad it's not 5 a.m. my time. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go and find out where the last straggler of the family is, and if they're outside the door waiting for me to end. God knows. Okay. Anyway, ciao. Thank you for joining.